And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 17 of Smite Talk. My name is OctanePro, and today we have a special guest, master of several trades, plays several different roles at Hi-Rez. We do have HiRezKelly. Kelly, how's it going?
Going great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Sorry, folks, about the late start. But we are set and ready to go for today. Those of you guys checking out Smite Talk for the first time and have checked it out here on Smite Game. Smite Talk is about a 45-minute to hour-long show, and the show pretty much is comprised of community content. So it's all, talking about things that are kind of on everyone's mind, but it allows you guys to go ahead and call in. So right below my video, my webcam, you will see a raid call channel. Go ahead, download raid call, go to that channel, and you will be put in a lobby, and then we'll bring you in to talk about different things. You guys can ask questions, you can give your opinion on different things, and then throughout the show we're also going to be taking questions on an ask.fm site, so I will go ahead and post that in chat if you guys are interested in, don't have the means to go ahead and ask questions via raid call, but do want to make sure that your question gets answered. Please go ahead and post it on that site as well. So once again, how's it going, Kelly? This is your first time actually on Smite Talk.
It is. It is the first time. I've been on another show with you before.
Yep. Yeah, we did.
But this is my first time here.
Yeah, I think you were on. It wasn't the first roundtable discussion. It was the second one.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the second one because we've had a third one. That one was Bart and APC were on that one. And as I was talking about with Kelly before the show started, I'm going to hope to put together a Smite roundtable discussion on kind of the ladies of Smite per se, and kind of get a lot of people's input from we do and don't hear a lot of input from a female perspective, especially in the Smite community. So I think that'll be a cool show to put together. It's just finding the time between now and the beginning of the Smite launch.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
Like, I know that there's really not going to be that much different. It's just going to be like, all right, now we're not doing it anymore. But I'm just excited because it's such a milestone. And I've been a huge fan of Smite. I played in closed beta and everything, so I like not just as like an employee, but just as a fan of Smite. I'm excited to see that last week of March is going to be so intense. Yeah.
Oh, definitely will. I mean, it's I can only imagine like how crazy it's going to be around that office. I mean, now granted, it's not like a Blizzard title where it launches on one day and it's like, okay, all of a sudden the doors open up and the floodgates, appear. Whereas for you guys, as you said, it's kind of like flicking a switch, but nothing happening per se when the game launches. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm sorry. I was reading the comments and someone said it sounds like I sound like I'm talking through a cardboard tube, so I wanted to see how I could fix that. But I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't think you sound like you're talking through a cardboard tube. Can you turn it up a bit? Sure, we can turn it up a bit. One sec here.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Sorry.
I have plenty of ability to...
I have a terrible headset microphone, so...
Hey, that's a SteelSeries headset. That is not a terrible headset. I love that headset. But I don't...
The headset's good. The microphone is not that great.
Yeah, right.
I actually liked my Turtle Beaches a bit more.
Oh, blasphemy.
I know. People hate Turtle Beaches, but I liked it. It had a good microphone. Although I am using a SteelSeries mouse and a SteelSeries keyboard, so I'm not hating on SteelSeries.
You and I are going to get along well then, because I have a SteelSeries mouse, I have a SteelSeries keyboard, I have a SteelSeries headset, so I think we're good.
I have my Diablo 3 SteelSeries mouse pad as well.
That's good, without a doubt. So let's go ahead. I guess one question, so people kind of know. Yeah, you just bumped your camera. It's like whoop. Is how I guess just so we'll just kind of get into this just so people kind of know a little bit of background there. What is your background with Hi-Rez? Like, how did you come upon working for Hi-Rez, and then what are the different roles you've done for Hi-Rez to lead up to where you are now?
Well, I was actually just talking about this with you, is that I've been streaming for almost 2 years now, and I've been playing Smite since July 2012. Okay. I streamed it back then, like the first person I watched, like the only other person that was even remotely, like, popular was Lassus, and back then, like, his highest numbers were like 300, and that was big. That was still big back then. Twitch has exploded in the past year, so numbers in the hundreds were still huge on Twitch. So I would watch him, learn a bit about that, and then I kind of died off, would stream other games, and then, oh my god, what was it, like March? Oh no, it was February that SimCity came out.
Okay.
I started streaming SimCity right when it came out, before anyone else did, and I must have been good. I must have been entertaining because I got the highest number I had was around 7,000.
Okay.
Of viewers, and I would like retain around like 5,000 throughout the entire week. And I would stream a few hours of SimCity, and then I would switch over to Smite, and about 2,000 to 3,000 would stay.
Okay.
So getting 2,000 to 3,000 viewers was more than Smite game was getting, any streamer was getting. I was the top Smite streamer for a few weeks. And they, Nabil got in contact with me, and he told me to come with him at PAX East and to work with them. And I was going to cosplay, essentially, you know, be a booth babe and everything like that.
Okay.
And while I was there, I was so passionate, and I was helping out, and I was, you know, coming up with all these ideas. And I was like, you know, if you guys ever need anyone to just stream during the downtime when the teams aren't ready, I'll do that. And so I was streaming for hours and hours and hours, and I was getting interviewed and helping promote the game. And they must have liked what I did. And so they hired me, and I told them that the only stipulation I had was that I wanted to graduate college first, and I only had like 3 months left. So end of May is when I made my move up here, and I've been working here ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like a dream come true, because I was going to school. I was a full-time unpaid intern at a Title I school where I was teaching middle schoolers, and they were all Haitian, and they didn't speak, or they spoke English, but they were ESOL students, which means that English was their second language. And it was painful. Like, every day that I woke up, I was like, wow, I don't want to go to work. And spending the past like 8 months at a job where I'm like excited to wake up every day and go to work, it's a dream come true.
Oh, yeah, sure, without a doubt. I mean, I think the way you feel, and it's funny to hear that, because there's definitely like a lot of like content creators like myself and stuff like that. That's the exact feeling. You're like, oh, I wake up, I go do my job for like 8 to 9 hours a day, but the entire time, like I will admit, like half the time I'm at work, I'm either reading about Smite, putting together content at work about Smite, and so it's like by the time you get home, you're like, all right, now it's time to work. So
that's what I did.
I completely understand. I think it's really cool though, something you pointed out about how like you knew what you had to do to be successful on Twitch, and that was something you pointed out about like riding that new game wave. You know, when SimCity came out.
I think I said that to you off this. I said that earlier. I didn't say that on stream just now. Yeah.
I mean, I think
there's a strategy, and I found out this strategy over a year ago of how to be successful on Twitch. There's a certain time that you need to stream. There's certain content that you need to stream, and there's certain games that work really well.
Yeah.
And it's not even just like, you know, oh, well, you're a female gamer, of course you're going to be popular. No, there's tons of female streamers that aren't popular, and then there's tons of female streamers that are popular. There's a certain equation for each type of streamer out there, and I just figured out the one that was for me.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. I think that's great, and it's funny because I did a segment on YouTube, a several series segment on, you know, how to set up your stream and stuff like that, and tips and tricks and stuff, and that was a big question that I got. It was people were like, hey, I followed everything you said and started streaming Smite, but how come I'm not becoming big on Smite? And it's like, well, have you seen how many streamers are on Smite right now? You know, what sets you apart? And I think a lot of the stuff that you talked about there is very important. You know, you're not at the front of the line when Smite, you know, comes out.
No. And when people, like, you know, streamers will do AMAs or anything like that, and we try to answer as many questions as possible. And a common question is, you know, what are tips that you would give to a new streamer? And I always say, set a schedule so that people know where to find you, when to find you. Because if you just stream erratically, you won't get those loyal fans that always show up at the same time every day.
Sure.
Or every other day, whatever you want to stream. Have a decent quality stream. If you can't pump out 720 at 30 frames per second, then it's not going to be good. No matter how good your content is, if it doesn't look good, people aren't going to enjoy it. That's just how computer and PCs and people are nowadays. They want the best looking things. And the third tip that I always give is have something unique about you. Now, this could be that you're really, really good at the game, because you can be really good at the game, a professional player, and not be entertaining at all, and thousands of people will watch you.
Sure.
Or you could be really charismatic and kind of wait, I'm not allowed to curse here. Be bad at the game.
We're on Smite game, okay? Keep that in mind.
Right. I've been streaming my own personal channel where I just spew out profanities, so I have to catch myself. But if you're really entertaining but bad at the game, people will still watch you. So have something unique about you. Do something interesting. Have a show where you produce something that no one else has done before, and people will watch you.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree, without a doubt. I mean, those are definitely some important things. And so let's jump back to the original question. So you came on board after you
Mhm.
finished up school, and
Yes.
what were you doing? I mean, were you a janitor? Were you cleaning the floors first, or what were you doing right off the back?
I might as well been. So when I first got hired for Hi-Rez, Hi-Rez is a bit notorious for kind of just throwing jobs at people, and if it works, they stick with it. If it doesn't, all right, move you along. And it's a really odd way of working things. I've personally never experienced it before, but
Okay.
it works. There's so many people at Hi-Rez that like they started off with something different, but then they found something that they loved, and our bosses are very like, okay, yeah, like embrace that, and they're good at it, and then they excel at it.
Okay.
So when I first worked there, I was supposed to be in esports, and I was tasked at first. Like the first week I did, I was like, all right, you're gonna do gym pricing for everything,
Okay.
and that's what I did for a week. I did gym pricing and I streamed, and it felt so unsatisfying. And
Hmm.
as the weeks went on, and I started to travel, I was a personality, a face of the company, and at PAX Prime, I believe it was. That's when I started doing videos.
Okay.
Nabil, who was one of my bosses, came up to me. He's like, "All right, here's a camera. You need to do interviews with the teams, and you need to make videos." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I actually had a previous passion for editing videos.
Okay.
Like, I got accepted into a program in high school for the AV, like AV, whatever you call it.
Hmm.
I used to make AMVs of Dragon Ball Z music
Oh
videos
boy.
constantly. Like I actually loved editing, and when they gave me this task at PAX Prime, like I was so happy and I was so excited, and I just all I did was work the entire time there. And you could ask people that like met me there. I was constantly on the computer, like editing videos, or I was pulling players and teams away to interview them.
Okay.
And after that, that's where I really excelled. Is instead of esports, which I love esports,
Hmm.
is that I was more so part of the community, and I love making content videos. I love giving the community things that they've never seen before, and it just spun off from there. So now, oh my goodness, now I do so much. I make Smite Recall, which, believe it or not, takes far longer than it should, and Adobe Premiere Pro just is the most wonkiest program I've ever used in my entire life. But I make Smite Recall. I write, record, and edit all of it by myself.
Okay.
I stream 15 hours a week, which although streaming's more difficult than people like to give it credit,
Oh yeah.
but even though it's not that difficult, it's still 15 hours out of a normally 40-hour work week. So
Yeah.
I miss half my day of being able to do any work. I have now picked up all of Duke's work, which includes all of the social media that we use, anything for API, and just general community stuff. And I was already doing community things before on Reddit, and now we're going to be getting the forums back, so I'm sure I'm going to have to do a lot of stuff with that.
So.
But I do all the gym pricing for all the community tournaments. I'm the head admin for all the community
Okay.
tournaments, and everything that's pretty much community. I'm actually probably one of the only people in our community team now.
Oh my gosh. Is there anything you don't do apparently at Hi-Rez Studios right now? I guess I
I'm
should have
not
asked.
a
It would have been a better question.
developer.
That's
Don't do
right.
anything with the servers. I'm not a developer. Don't ask me questions about our servers, matchmaking, or balancing. I have no input on it at all.
Well, there
So
goes
I'm
half
just
the viewer questions. All right, it's out the door.
Exactly.
That's completely understandable. Well, that's really cool. Definitely, without a doubt. I mean, as I mentioned before the show, was definitely something where, Hi-Rez Studios, as we all know, is not like a huge, publishing company without a doubt at all.
Not at all.
But you're definitely filling that role, and a lot of people have started to see that, like the company is definitely expanding with the growth of the game, the growth of the community. I mean, as you said, you're kind of handling a lot of the community stuff, and it's like, wow, like one person doing all of that is, something crazy to see. So you guys did bring on Lionheart for like legal and business purposes, which is awesome. And hopefully we'll see some more and more people coming on in the future to kind of help that out, because, a lot of people, a lot of times you see complaints and stuff like that, but people don't realize, like, you only have so much time in a day, and you only have so much manpower in order to answer every question or support every user with stuff like that. So I think it's cool, without a doubt. And it sounds like you're doing a lot at Hi-Rez, which is always good.
Oh yeah.
And
it's not difficult stuff, but it's time consuming, and someone has to do it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It's a very thankless job, but and just the amount of times that people, when I'm streaming, ask me, so what do you actually do outside of streaming? And I'm like, I've listed it dozens of times, and I know that even if I tell you what I do, you're not gonna care. But I do stuff. Like I actually work at Hi-Rez.
That's right. You have a personal life? What is this?
Oh no, I don't have a personal life. That's the funny thing.
That's funny. That's funny. So, folks, we're going to go ahead and we kind of have a variety of different topics here. I'll kind of go through them real quick. So if you guys want to stick around, great. So our first topic is going to be about, we're definitely focusing on community tonight. As you can tell, that's definitely, you know, not only Kelly's passion, but also mine in a little different way, but definitely both of our passions is community. And we're kind of going to discuss, the Smite Reddit situation with the forums, with a lot of people, you know, a lot of reaching out and crying for different things, you know, within the Reddit right now. And then on top of that, we're going to take some community questions, just kind of quick fire questions that the community has for HiRezKelly or myself. I will post that link in chat if you guys want to get yours in now. Then we're also going to talk about what do we as fans and viewers hope to see at the Smite launch tournament. So if you guys want to call in, if you want to post on the ask.fm, you know, what are you guys hoping to see? You know, this is definitely Hi-Rez Studios' real big first, I guess, launch tournament event. And they have done some other events in the past. They've been part of like PAX and Gamescom and stuff like that. But they've always been part of it. It's never been their own independent thing. So, you know, definitely, you know, really exciting there. And then finally, we're going to have a topic of Kelly's choice. So Kelly can talk about anything she wants.
Right, I still gotta think about that.
That's right. That's all right. Any
will.
topic there. So let's go off and first off, you know, talk about, you know, kind of the white elephant in the room, which has been all the drama going on over on Reddit. And something I've definitely found as part of the community, it's better to talk about things than to try to like give the political answer and not really allow the community members to voice their opinion. So if you guys want to voice your opinion or recommendations or suggestions or whatever, you can go ahead and call in. The raid call channel is directly below my camera here, and call in. We'll definitely be bringing on people. We'll bring on LucentHorse here in a few minutes here after HiRezKelly and I kind of talk about it. And so from an outside perspective, pretty much what I've noticed is, in just making it short, is that you know, people are not, a lot of community members are not pleased with the Smite Reddit. The way it's being moderated, the way the content is being shown for viewers and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people are able to be frustrated and voice their opinion about things they don't like. That's fine. Definitely do it. The problem is where people are getting frustrated is that the Smite forums, if you guys weren't around then, there were Smite forums at one time. Those got taken down. And so Reddit kind of turned into the unofficial, official forum for everything related to Smite. And it was this huge amount of traffic, huge amount of, you know, activity on the Reddit forums. All of a sudden, for these moderators that were, you know, just minding their own business, doing their own thing, it kind of just came along and like blew them out of the water. And then, you know, there's been a lot of complaints back and forth. And it's not any individual's one fault. It's just, hey, this is how things developed. And finally, after some time, you know, there's been plenty of complaining, plenty of big Reddit posts and stuff like that. Hi-Rez Stu came out and said, you know, hey, we understand there's frustration here with the Reddit. It's not really fair that the way things turned out. Hi-Rez Studios will be developing a forum for Smite, and it will be coming here shortly. He didn't say if it's coming before the game launches or after the game launches, but it's definitely something in motion. So I'll kind of throw it over to you. Unless, did I miss anything, Kelly, or is that pretty accurate?
No, that was pretty accurate, actually. I know that we've actually been talking about having a real forum for a while, but it seems like with the recent uprising of complaints about using Reddit as essentially the official source for communication between the community and between Hi-Rez, is that we're speeding up the process a little bit more. I jumped on board with Hi-Rez like a few weeks before the forums were taken down, so I was definitely not a part of the equation. I didn't know why we took them down. At the time, I didn't really think too much of it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how people on Reddit, they tend to bandwagon, I've noticed.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It'll be about anything. It could be a positive bandwagoning, or it could be something negative. And especially with streamers, for weeks or months, there'll be no communication, no talking about anything negative about a certain streamer. No one will really care. And then someone will post one thing, and then everyone else is like, yeah, I kind of agree with that too. You know what? I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be passionate about this, even though I've never talked about it before. And they do that a lot. And it's really difficult to moderate, because do you moderate people's opinions? Do you moderate how they're saying something? Because it has something to do with Smite. And another thing I realized, and someone posted something, and it made me so upset of how Hi-Rez Studios doesn't care about the community, and that we don't care about communication with them. And it really upset me because even before I worked for Hi-Rez, I was astounded of how much like Hi-Rez actually cares and listens to everybody.
Yep.
I've never seen a game studio talk this much with the people and be so open. And I've realized that like people just are spoiled. And I'm not saying this about the general, I'm not saying this just about the Smite community. This is a game like community or gaming community phenomenon. And someone recently wrote a post about it. The guy who made Fez, I believe.
Okay.
He made an article saying how he never wants to make video games again because people are so demanding, and it's baffling that so much of the community feel like they deserve so much, even though we're the ones making the games for them, we're the ones constantly updating it, we're the ones fixing it. They feel like they deserve more, and it's almost upsetting to me to feel like we can never satisfy what everyone always wants.
Sure. Oh no, I completely agree, and it's quite interesting, as you said there, just the way that people jump on a bandwagon, and a lot of it comes along with the whole Reddit situation and the way that Reddit is developed and designed, and you had talked a little bit there, but the one thing, here's an example, which how Reddit is great for what it's done for us so far in the community, but we're getting to a point where we need to move to a forums, which everyone has expressed, and Hi-Rez agrees. So, it's there, so no need to complain about it. But, for example, I've seen new streamers go ahead and post on there being like, hey, I'm going to be streaming, new streamer, come check me out. And it just gets downvoted to eternity, and it's off there. Nobody ever sees it, and it's gone within like 5 minutes. And it's like...
It's such a shame.
It really is, because it's like, if this was a forum atmosphere... It would sit there. It would not, you can't downvote it, so it's not like it's going to disappear. And people that are interested in giving that new streamer the attention they deserve, they'll be able to do that and stuff like that. So, and that's with anything people post. I mean, the funny thing is, I'm definitely one of those people where when I go to Reddit, I check out the front page of what's hot, but then I also go to what's new. Because a lot of that new stuff you never ever see. Because it either one gets downvoted to eternity, and you never see anything that happens there, or it never gets enough attention for people to check it out. So I think there were some postings that I guess someone had posted. Smite official forums here by one of the moderators, and it was suggestions. It was just saying, hey, what do you guys as the community hope to see with Smite, with the forums? And I don't know if this was instructed from Hi-Rez or if this was just, hey, the moderator's trying to help out. And there's a lot of really good things in here about just what people hope to see with the forums coming out, in the near future and stuff like that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to bring in LucentHorse 11. He is one of the people that has called in via raid call, and he might have something to comment on directly about, the community and about the drama with Reddit and the forums, stuff like that. But he could also just have a question about something else. It's completely okay. The show has a format, but I encourage people to take us away from that path and just to kind of, go with whatever's on their mind. So let's go ahead and bring in LucentHorse. And LucentHorse, are you with us?
That I am. How are you doing?
Hi.
Doing good. Welcome back to Smite Talk. What do you want to talk about tonight?
There's a few things I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
First off, having both of you here in this one lovely little chat here. Which one of you is the better Ymir player?
Oh, that's right.
Wait, do you have legendary Ymir?
Ooh.
It wasn't handed to me from Hi-Rez Studios, so I don't have it quite yet. I'm level 8. I'm level 8.
Shots fired.
I'm concerned I have hundreds of games under Ymir to do otherwise, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. What's your rank with Ymir?
I am 8. I am 8 right now.
Oh, you're 8. I believe 8 is 2 behind 10.
Okay, here's the only thing I'm going to say. Somebody bring out my stats on how many kills I have as Ymir versus Kelly's, and then we could duke it out.
Wait.
What?
Are you playing support Ymir?
I do play support, and I still
then why
help
do you have kills? Shouldn't you be supporting your teammates and not taking kills?
We call that kill securing, Kelly. We call that kill securing.
Oh, right. Of course.
There's a button for that. We do have a button for that.
That's right.
On Octane's channel.
That's right. I do have an emoticon, KS. And check this out, Kelly. I have an emoticon of Ymir, and I can put it in chat just for you.
I have an emoticon of Ymir too. It was the first one I had.
All right, now I gotta type it in.
This is how much I love Ymir. I have had a subscriber button forever.
I don't doubt it.
The only icon I have is of Ymir. So I'm just saying.
All right, so when I come down to Hi-Rez Studios on the 25th, myself and Kelly are gonna duke it out. Somebody bring boxing gloves. Let's do it.
So Bart's pretty good at the game. Bart's like pretty good at. He's pretty good at stuff.
Yes, he is. Yep.
And we've 1v1 jousted a bunch, and I've lost all of them besides Emir 1v1, and I believe ISIS 1v1 actually. This most recent week. But yeah, so come on, man.
LucentHorse, I love you and hate you, by the way. Just want to put it out
there. Oh man. Sorry. I had to throw that one at you.
That's okay.
Anyways, yeah. Also, I'd like to ask, what is a Reddit?
What is a Reddit?
Yeah, I'm just busting.
Well, okay.
Yeah, no.
I think Reddit's a little alien dude, and he has an antenna on the top of his head.
I
believe that's what a Reddit is.
Oh, okay. So, you were saying, Kelly, you were saying that people never really seem satisfied with when you're saying the gaming community, the kind of spot. I can see that. I just want to make sure that I'm not like misinterpreting this or anything like that. But you mean it's just kind of like they ask too much, or is it you just like? Because I mean, people continuously wanting more from people isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't think that's what you meant by that.
No,
I think it just meant like oh hey what about this? What about this? What is like that sort of thing? I don't think this is what you meant.
Oh, gosh,
but
no.
yeah definitely okay.
Well, like I've actually made a post about this on Reddit, which is how we communicate with people, is that I don't see all these negative posts as something negative. I see it as the community being so passionate and loving Smite so much that they want to see it change, and it's important to them. And that there is great. When we have community members that are emotionally upset about something with the game, that just shows that they love the game so much. What I'm more so talking about is the people that demand responses, demand answers that majority of other game studios would never give. There was this communication about streamers and like why they were kicked off or why they're taken off or why they're leaving, and how someone demanded like, oh, well, we have the right to know. And it's like, no. This is Hi-Rez. We don't have to tell you why we're letting people go or why we bring people on. That's like, hey, Hi-Rez Blake got fired. Why was he fired? We don't have to tell you that. That's
because reasons.
We really don't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that, but it's our own personal business. It's how we conduct ourselves. We're not going to communicate everything that goes on because that's just not how the world works. And people seem to demand that. They want to know everything. They want to know every little thing that we're ever doing. And if you go back 10, 15 years when communication wasn't as open, no one was ever being like, oh, why is Square Enix doing this with my favorite character from Final Fantasy IX? Like, it wasn't just, or maybe there was, but it wasn't as open. And now that communication seems to be more open, people are able to voice their opinions more, and opinions are great. But when you're just demanding things from a studio that's already giving you a game for free, I get salty about it.
Yeah. Definitely. I can see what you're saying there.
Yeah, but the negative posts aren't bad. That just shows that they're passionate about it. When it's outright like, oh, this game sucks, all right, go screw yourself, go play a different game. When people are like, oh, like, I feel like the way that they're balancing this is wrong, like, that just shows that they're really passionate about the game, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, the big thing is there, too, is you have to remember is Hi-Rez is definitely one of those transparent companies. There's a lot that they allow us to know when it comes down to like spoils and leaks and stuff like that HiRez has done in the past, not only as a marketing hype for the community, but also just say, hey, like, expect this coming out. And if you look at other games, they don't do that. Like, that stuff isn't released.
They don't.
And there's a lot of transparency.
Although sometimes we're not too happy when HiRez tells things. Like,
I can imagine.
The only thing that I know that, like, we put our foot down and it was like, don't say anything, was about the whole partnership with Tencent, because that's a huge deal.
Oh, yeah.
And we were always biting our tongue, being like, oh, I hope he doesn't say anything. But it was actually Bart that leaked it.
Okay.
Back when we were doing patch notes, we were showing, this is when Xbalanque was getting a graphic update.
Okay.
And in one of the pictures, he was showing just like a bunch of images of Xbalanque, and there was a bunch of notes on the right side about the changes that were being made. And one of them was that Tencent likes some kind of color or something like that.
Okay.
And only one person in the chat caught it. No one else.
That one
Tencent's on it.
person.
And he says something, he's like, oh, Smite's going to be working with Tencent. And, like, everyone at Hi-Rez was just like, and then nothing else happened. So we got lucky. We got lucky that nothing ever came from that because someone caught it, but no one like said anything.
Huh. Interesting. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
LucentHorse, what else do you have for us today?
I was just over the past week here. I ended up with a couple of games where I was playing with some people in that were spoke different languages.
Okay.
Oh.
And yeah, the language barrier really is really painful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there'd be any chance that Hi-Rez might be able to try, or at least attempt to implement some sort of like in-game translation for chat? I know that'd be like a wicked hard thing to do, but like,
that seems like it. Is there any games out there that do that?
I don't know. Hey,
Well,
setting precedents. Setting precedent.
I think
That's
how
true.
I think how that's solved though is more servers though for the different regions. The reason I say that is
True.
if you look at it right now, our servers are very limited in regard, North American and EU, and then of course then we also have the Chinese servers. But outside of that, there aren't many more, and so you see there's so many different people playing the game under the North American server when in reality, eventually just speculating here. When Tencent's ready to expand the servers into other countries and stuff like that, that's when I think that a lot of that will get solved naturally. One, it fixes a lot of the ping issues and server issues, but then two, a lot of that, cross, type of language problems. So I think it's a good point. I think it's great that like multicultural is starting to blend a little bit, but there's also could be a frustrating side to it when people are trying to communicate from different languages.
I know that I've played with a few people from around the world, and I'll see them talking in some language I don't understand, but they'll use the VGS system, and the VGS system really is helpful for people that just don't know like the language barrier, but also people that can't type really fast.
Sure.
It's the worst thing when someone's doing something wrong, and you're like, "Damn it, Zeus! Why are you over there? You need to be over here." But you can like ping the map, you can use the VGS system, and now we've expanded the VGS system to have wards and like the tie-ins now and defending towers. So I feel like the VGS system is actually a great way to close that barrier of a language gap. Definitely. I've seen people that don't speak English use the VGS system correctly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was playing with somebody just earlier today, and it's like, oh, okay, so. Yeah, they're a little salty at some stuff, but regardless, they start talking in chat's like, I'm sorry, what language is that?
Yeah, right. Weird symbols and everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's so. It is great for that. But even when it comes into like more in depth, if you want, if you're trying to tell somebody what they're doing wrong, and they're not really of the, if they don't speak the same language, it's just kind of like, oh, this person's saying stuff I don't understand what they're saying, so they're probably just yelling at me.
Probably. That's usually what it is, though.
Yeah.
No,
well,
I genuinely don't know what it would take for us to be able to implement an active translator.
Wow.
That seems like something that might be difficult to detect languages and then convert it into a language that everyone else understands. Because essentially, what you're going to have to do is that you're going to have to convert all the other languages to English. There's no way that we could detect if there's French players, and you're like, oh, well, we should convert Russian to French. So it seems a bit difficult. But like I said, the VGS system is a great way for communication. I prefer to never talk to my teammates and just use the VGS system. If you can play a great Conquest game only using the VGS system, then that's a good game.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, LucentHorse, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Excellent questions, by the way.
Thank you.
Last thing I want to point out is Kelly does have better kills per game. Let's see here.
Yes!
She does have less. She does have less deaths, average deaths. She has more assists, but ironically enough, I have a 1% higher win rate than her.
Damn.
So she has a 57%, and I am currently at 58. So,
but I have more assists, kills, and less deaths. So even though you win, doesn't that mean your team is carrying you?
Hey, all that matters is you got more W's on the board, okay? More W's on the board. Come on now. All right, so I'm definitely playing Ymir in the next week, so I can make sure that
hey, maybe we can set something up. Maybe there can be show matches at the 100K, and one of them is you, me versus Ymir. I'm just saying.
That's gonna be a disaster.
So when's Hi-Rez gonna do an all Ymir game for you guys?
Yeah, right. That would be fun. That'd be a fun end of the day.
One One of the things
Right?
I do now is that I control the mode of the day, so
Oh.
maybe I can do something with
Ooh.
that. Maybe I could set something up and talk to our developers.
As long as when people join the game, it's not red and blue, it's OctanePro and Kelly's team, you know?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, dude, that would be
it's
hilarious.
like an arena, and all the flags have like your symbol, and
That's
then
right.
mine is like my face or something. I don't know, probably something dumb.
The fix your hair symbol, right?
The fix your hair symbol. Oh, that's
yes,
right.
fix your hair. Which I've been doing this entire stream.
That's okay. That's okay.
I just jumped out of the shower, so my hair is really annoying.
Well, LucentHorse, thanks for coming on, man, and you have a good evening.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me as always. Have a great night.
You too.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. So yeah, definitely some good points that he definitely does make there. Those are the type of callers we enjoy without a doubt. Lots of questions.
Do you get troll callers?
I do get troll callers, and like it's funny. When I first brought on the show, you know, Gavin was like, "Yeah, we got to have somebody intermediate and like, you know, somebody that control the troll callers." Like the first show I did on Smite Game, somebody like played "What Does the Fox Say" as the audio.
Yeah.
Like I was like, "Oh," so but thankfully the troll calls have not been so bad, and I'm very quick to pull them off, so that's not a problem for me.
That's good.
Yes, without a doubt. So
I'm sure it keeps things interesting.
Oh, without a doubt. So we are going to take more calls here. Hirochi, we're going to bring on here next. But in the meantime, we're going to take a few questions from the Ask.fm site. So if you guys do have questions, please feel free to go ahead and post them. I'll put the link here real quick in chat for you folks. One moment here. I can type, I swear.
It's difficult, I know.
I know, man, so much pressure.
I switch from 4 keyboards a day, and it's such a pain.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys use those like foreign ESL keyboards or something.
I don't know. I don't know, and it's so upsetting because I use a nice mechanical keyboard at home, and then I have some crappy keyboard at my desk, and then I use a laptop keyboard for editing, and then I use a completely different keyboard for streaming, and like. There'll be times where, like, I'll level up my 3 instead of my 2, and people are like, "Oh, Kelly, you're so bad." I'm like, "No, I promise. I didn't mean to hit 3. I meant to hit 2." Hey, they never believe me.
These are real-world problems, people. Right here, HiRezKelly, real-world problems.
They might be first-world problems, but they're real-world problems.
All right, so let's see what we have here. Question, I guess, throw it over to Kelly, and then I'll take it. Actually, what got you initially into streaming? Was it another streamer, or you know, what kind of pulled you into that?
Well, at the time, I was dating a guy that streamed, and he streamed a lot of fighting games. He was a professional player, and Diablo 3 just came out, and so I was playing Diablo 3 literally like 6 hours to 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Like anytime that I wasn't at school and I was taking, it was during the summer, so I didn't have to. It was like, it came out in like May.
Okay.
So I was able to play Diablo just so much. And he was streaming, you know, and that kind of stuff. And I realized how easy it was. And I was like, well, what's the difference between me putting a camera on and doing the same thing? I might be able to get some exposure and all that kind of stuff. And it started off very, very casual and relaxed. I didn't communicate at all. I just kind of played the game and had a camera on me while doing that. And then I started my first internship for being a teacher, and I realized I hated it. And I realized that I actually started to really like streaming. So I started to spend more time on it. I started to research the best way to set up your bit rate and like codecs and all that stuff and overlays, and eventually just became like it was a hobby that became a passion. And I would literally, like, my friends would be having a party. I'd be like, "Oh no, I promised that I'd be streaming." I started sacrificing things for it. And when I started working 40+ hours a week unpaid, and I still streamed 20 hours a week, I realized that streaming was this was the only way that I was going to do something that I loved. Because I always wanted to be in video games. I've been playing video games since before I was born. Both my parents are gamers.
Sure.
And I just never thought that it was a possibility. I always thought, oh, well, I could never be a gamer. It's too cutthroat of an industry. I don't really want to do designing. It's never going to happen. And when I started streaming, I realized this might be a possibility. I'm entertaining. I understand games, and I'm really passionate about it. I need to start pursuing this. And that's why I started streaming more seriously.
Yeah, I think for me, I first got into streaming prior to coming into Smite. I was in the StarCraft 2 scene, and so I bring a lot of that community esports knowledge directly over. I've been to several MLG events and stuff like that.
Oh, me too.
Yes, with that, all East Coast though. I haven't traveled west. I did.
Have you been to MLG Orlando?
No, I did Raleigh. I did Providence, Rhode Island. I did Columbus, Ohio, Raleigh, North Carolina, and there's one other one. What is the other one?
I've only been to MLG Orlando, but I've been to a ton of FGC events.
Well, sure, and they're all this. I mean, you all have that same atmosphere to it, but so I was.
They don't. Have you never been to an FGC event?
I have not.
Oh, you need to. It's baffling. Go to it. They call them majors, and those are the ones that are really big. Thousands of people go. Tens of thousands of people watch on stream. Go to a major, and it is completely different than any MLG, any PAX, any kind of like major event, ESL, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
180 degrees turn different.
Huh. Interesting. In a more so I have to ask, like in a more positive, what makes it different?
Hype.
Okay.
Hype.
Okay.
The amount of intensity and hype and drive that, like, you know, these esports events are very professional. People are wearing suits and ties, and the teams, you know, shake hands before they play. At FGC events, people are flicking each other off. They're cursing each other on front of camera, and it's all about like screaming and yelling and hype, and people really getting into it. And it's all about like grudge matches, like. I mean, these people at the same time are just pulling names like Peel Balrog has never been able to defeat Dominion, and like they're matching each other off in the finals, so it's like people are really into it. And there's people always doing side betting and you know betting on who they think it's going to win. Oh yeah, it's intense and it's awesome, and there's actually a huge debacle of why the FGC can't be a part of esports is because they stick to their grassroots field.
Yeah, they're very much like a third party like type of setup where it's like outside of the norm, and I mean it sounds awesome without a doubt. It's interesting awesome. Because it makes it I see how positive that is and how amazing that is for a scene, but then I also see the struggles that could come along with that. Without a doubt. So, I mean, it sounds awesome, though. Now I'm interested in going to one. So outside of that, I started in StarCraft 2, and I didn't start streaming at all. I was just going to a lot of StarCraft 2 events, following the esports scene. And there started, a podcast started up about StarCraft 2 for the community and about esports. And I was watching it on Twitch, and the production quality was crap. And so I reached out to them with like no experience at all, just a passion to make it better, and was like, "Hey, are you interested in having someone produce your show so you could just focus on actually the content?" And so I was like a third wheel per se, and I did all the streaming for them, and showed all the overlays, showed all the graphics, all that fun stuff, and it became really big in the StarCraft 2 scene and stuff like that. But I did that for the longest time, and then finally I was like, why don't I do this myself as well? Like, why don't I stream my games, create my own podcast? And so that's kind of where it stemmed off for me specifically. But good question there. Good question without a doubt. We'll take one more question, then we'll jump to another viewer here. Let's see. Some of these questions are rather interesting. Can you make...
Actually, I'm sorry. I was about to say watching Day 9 was one of the first streams I ever watched. And that was back... I used to play StarCraft 2 all the time as well. Protoss, of course.
Oh.
Ask any girl what they play. They always play Protoss.
Now why? I don't understand, because Protoss used to be back in the day like so overpowered. It was just like just click a move. Just move your entire army against the other army and sit there and watch. That's what it was for the longest time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. A click. No, I mean like and it's definitely generalization. There's girls that play way other, games. Yep. There's this Surfer chick. She's a StarCraft 2 streamer, I believe. Yeah,
I've heard of it before. Yep.
Yeah, I've watched her. She doesn't play Protoss. But no, it was just something like any MLG event I would go to where I'd be watching StarCraft 2, people would be like, "Oh, what are you playing?" I'm like, "What do you think I play?" They're like, "Protoss." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Wow, that's interesting.
Majority of girls play Protoss.
Okay. No, definitely. This is more of a community question that somebody had submitted. I just went through and cleared out like 20 questions that were stupid. Like, do you like carrots? Do you like toast? And I was like, oh my gosh.
I like carrots. I like toast. So yes.
See, people, why do you have to do this? She's so distracted now. Come on now.
I am. I'm now thinking about carrots and toast.
Sure. So this question is, what are your thoughts on live chat support? Can it become a thing? Because support tickets can take weeks to solve, and I feel live chat and not waiting 2 days for a reply would be awesome. So I think it's definitely a good question. What are your thoughts there?
It is.
Coming from your perspective.
If and when Smite grows, and it will, and Hi-Rez Studios consequently is going to have to grow. We can't. We have only about 80 people working here, and we can't sustain our game if it grows, such as Tencent jumping on board and everything. And I sit next to one of our support team, And every Monday we have a meeting and we, say what we're doing that week and that kind of stuff, what we're planning. And our support guy says, all right, well, we're at this number now. And that's how many active support tickets are open.
Okay.
And on a typical day, it goes from 200 to 400.
Wow.
And there's only 3 or 4 people working on our support team.
Ugh.
And I know a lot of people think that's minimal, but it's actually pretty accurate. Like it's for how big our company is, it's a pretty decent size.
Yeah.
Because you have to have all these people doing different jobs. So we have a few people as a support.
Yeah.
And I could not imagine having hundreds of people sending support tickets that want to chat live and only having one person available. The queue times would be hours and hours, and it would be far more strenuous on our support team. So if and when Smite grows, and if we build a bigger support team, because I remember I forgot who said this to me, but the League of Legends community team in Korea alone is larger than our entire studios.
Wow.
So
is that now? Do you think that's based off of accounts? And the reason I say that is that's most of the time the best way to justify like having a support team is by the number of accounts you have specifically, because I feel like that's necessary. Like I feel like that's the way you justify it is, okay, we have 2 million accounts, so we need X amount of support people, or we have 5 million or 10 million. I feel like that's really the only way to do it. Yeah.
And that would definitely be, or maybe actually seeing how much there's a need of support, like supply and demand.
Sure.
That if we have so many tickets that we're going to need this many people to be able to answer them. Yeah. So maybe not how many accounts there are, because people make 10 accounts for who they are, or per person. So maybe more so of like how many people are trying to actively use this or support system.
Sure.
And so, yes, I agree that having something like that would be fantastic, but I do not think we're in a place for that right now. Because I've seen where we are in our support system, and the queue time for people waiting for their questions to be answered would be far too long for it to actually be productive.
Yeah, it's interesting. I work in the IT field as an IT manager, and so I understand the whole ticket system. And I'm constantly viewing from my perspective, how many hundreds of tickets we have per month, and how do we justify bringing on another person and stuff like that. And so in that situation, it's crazy because you guys are always at a growth point. You're constantly growing.
Yes, we're constantly growing. Yeah, our numbers keep rising. It's awesome.
I can see it from a support perspective being the largest headache, and I'm looking from an outside perspective. Please keep in mind, Kelly's looking from an inside perspective, and the only thing I can say there from an outside perspective, and just from what I know, is that a lot of people complain about communication and community and stuff like that, and unfortunately, I mean, as you said, like, oh, I'm one of the main individuals that's doing community stuff right now. It's like at some point. And I'll just throw it out there, Hi-Rez, you're going to have to expand and increase your teams. And most likely that'll come in 2014 when the game launches and the game expands. So all I can say to the community is just be patient. Hi-Rez, as Kelly said, is like 80 people, give or take. And hopefully down the road we see that double in the next like 2 to 3 years, hopefully, in order to take care of that, because I think that would be awesome.
Sure.
All right, so let's...
Zeus nerf incoming, please. I don't know if you're keeping up with the esports scene, but Zeus isn't that strong.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's surprising the difference between casual players and what they ban and what they pick, and then the competitive scene. And I'm not talking about League, because League is, you get good games, you get games. I'm talking about like the top teams from NA and EU.
Yeah.
It's interesting actually seeing the differences of what they pick and what they ban.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna go ahead. We will bring in Hirochi and get his thoughts. And Hirochi, welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Hey! Hirochi tried to get on last week when we had audio issues with Trendkill and I. So he did not get on. So I'm happy that he got on this week. So what do you want to talk about today?
Okay, well, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
My first being, how do you feel about the toxicity in Smite?
Well, I've talked about this before, and we've taken a lot of strides to improve not just the toxicity in the community, but the toxicity amongst our community heads, such as our streamers. And it was a huge issue of streamers, bad-mouthing or saying negative things towards people. And a lot of people, and we said that we were going to change that. We're going to make an active effort to start being more positive and to exemplify what we want our community to be. And a lot of people didn't think that we actually did it, and that we only gave slap on the wrist. And then we started seeing people actually being, like streamers starting to change and their attitudes starting to change. And this past week, we've actually had streamer evaluations go out. So Gavin, who is our head admin for our streamers, is actually now taking all the feedback that we have on that link that you can post anytime that you want, and like tallying up all the scores and seeing what people get and giving back feedback to the streamers and what they need to improve and what they're doing well on. So we're making active changes. Like, we are actually constantly trying to improve our streamers. Now with the community, that's a hard topic to really make everyone happy about, because what it comes down to is that competitive games, FPS, MOBAs, anything that you have to communicate with other people that you don't know, it's not going to be good. And you're going to have negativity, and you're going to have BM, and that's just part of competitive gaming. I mean, I'm sure you, if not played Call of Duty or Halo, you've at least seen how people are, right? And it's an excuse to an extent to say, oh, well, that's just how people will be, but that is. And we could work on how we punish players and how we ban them, or how we maybe pick up something of what League of Legends does, where it's, I don't even know what they call it, but where they actually have the community rule on what should happen to a person who has been reported.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they have it where if a certain number of people have been reported, they're allowed to actually have a community discussion on what they think should happen to this person's account. So it's all up to the community.
Wow.
It is. It's really interesting.
Judge and jury right there. Judge and jury. Right? I like that. Hi-Rez, implement it, please.
Yes.
But,
that would be cool.
Yeah, Toxicity and BM, it's going to be in any competitive game.
Yeah.
Like, games such as StarCraft, where it's 1v1, it's not going to be as bad, but it's almost like dehumanization. You're not playing with other people that are humans. You're not playing against other people that are humans. You're just playing your god, and everyone else is part of the game. And it's the same thing with road rage. When you're driving a car and you like flick someone off and you tell them to go screw off, you're not telling that to the person, you're telling it to the car. Because if that ever happened while you were walking, you would never say those things.
Yeah.
So that's just how it happens. You think that there's not going to be consequences because you're not actually yelling at someone, you're yelling at a game.
Okay.
Or you are yelling at someone and you're just angry, and that's just, it's going to happen. I try to kill people with kindness. Anytime someone says something negative to me, I'm like, come on, dude, it's all good. Bad games happen. Like, if we pull together, we can win. They'll curse me off some more. And I'm like, probably shouldn't do that to me. I promise that there could be far worse things in the world than being angry at everyone else.
No, that's a great question. What else you got?
Okay, I got one more.
Okay.
Now, how do you feel about... oh crap.
Yes.
Sorry. Give me a second here.
It's all right. Yeah, someone actually posted it. Chicken Chaser said that it's the Tribunal of League of Legends. So yeah, the Tribunal.
Yeah,
cool.
I've seen that. Okay, I got it. Now, which one of you has more legendaries in Smite?
Probably Kelly, to be honest with you, because I don't think I have any. God, I need to do less talk shows and play Smite more. I swear.
Even when I'm not streaming, when I go home, all I do is play Smite. I play a lot of Smite. It's my favorite game right now, and that's not just me being like, Smite's awesome, you guys should download it. Like, it's seriously my favorite game.
My only comment is Kelly works for Hi-Rez, so she has an unfair advantage. Okay.
It's true. Okay. I do mandatorily have to play 3 hours of Smite a day.
Yes. I mandatorily have to spend time with my family several hours a day, and then get to play Smite when everyone goes to bed. So.
Okay. And one more.
Amir in Hell.
Yes.
Who do you think has the best legendary skin?
Ooh, I really like a Moose and Cobbs. I like the fact that we took a legendary skin, which our color scheme is typically, gold and black, and made a play off of it because he looks like a bumblebee. Yeah. And I think that's awesome. So a Moose and Cobb has been my favorite. I think Chalk looks really cool because of the Mayan designs on his armor and his weapon. That it's very easy to oh, this should be gold and this should be black. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so between Chalk, definitely Moose and Cobb is my number one. Mine would definitely have to be Sun Wukong. I think Sun Wukong has a really, really good one, so that would be my reasoning behind it, without a doubt. Any other questions you got for us?
Nope. I'm just gonna say that Isis is the best legendary skin.
Ooh. Well, I'm starting to play more Isis, so maybe I need to work on her neck.
Yeah, that's true.
Her legendary skin is just amazing.
Alright.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Dude, I need to do work. What is with people? They're just killing me right now.
Yeah,
oh my
man.
goodness. I have just over a month. I'm just gonna I'm gonna hire. You know how like they have Chinese gold farmers? I'm gonna like hire one of them to like Smite.
Oh
be
my
like,
gosh.
Don't tell Hi-Rez. Don't tell Hi-Rez.
Back when I was a kid, when I was like 10 or 11, I played this game called Ultima Online.
Oh, I know exactly what it is. Yep.
And that was the first time anyone really saw like Chinese gold farmers.
Yeah.
And it was like really bad. Like you could get your account suspended. But for one Christmas, my mom bought me and my sister 1,000,000 gold each from a Chinese gold farmer and gave that to us for our Christmas gift. I know, right?
That's a lot.
And
like, oh my god.
1,000,000 was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And so like when I'm looking back at it, I'm thinking like my mom spent hundreds of dollars on a Chinese.
I know, right?
Ugh.
She fueled that seed. She's so dirty.
I feel so dirty.
That's unbelievable. Wow. Okay, we'll take one more Ask.fm question, then we'll jump on to our next caller here. Then we'll kind of go from there. After our next caller, we're going to jump into our next question here. Or actually, we'll jump into that next after this. So let's see. Let me grab another question here.
It's a lot of jumping.
There's a lot of jumping, and it's just like Smite. Everybody jumps.
Yes, everyone jumps.
All right, let's see. Here's a question which you could, just a quick little one that you can help people out. Where does someone apply to Hi-Rez Studios?
Apply to Hi-Rez Studios if you actually go to HiRezStudios.com, not SmiteGame.com, HiRezStudios.com. There should be a tab that says careers, and that shows everything that we're currently hiring for. So let me see if I can actually pull it up and post it into chat. Yeah, HiRezStudios.com. I am right. Cool. And there's a careers tab right in the middle. And it should show everything that we're hiring for. And right now we are hiring for regional support tech, system programmers, character rigger, 3D special effects artists, and game programmers.
Interesting.
So, yep, anytime we have an open position, you guys can go there.
Yeah.
So HiRezStudios.com and click the careers tab.
Alrighty. Question here. Do you think or do you like the idea of Hi-Rez ever releasing a hybrid god in the future that does not only physical but also magical damage?
Ooh. That would be interesting. Wasn't Freya like that for a little bit?
At one point. The only thing I see with that is just it's so hard to counter that person because if you look at the game now, like as a support or any other class, when you find yourself like solo lane, let's say, and you find yourself going against a magical god, you will buy an item or maybe two to go ahead and counter that individual. Look how difficult it would be, you know?
Another issue is how would you build that god? We'd have to start like we would have to bring in items that would suit that god the best. Or you could make it actually would be really cool if like two of the skills were physical and two of the skills were magical, and you had to make sacrifices on your build on which skills you thought were the most important.
Sure.
So if one of your skills was a magical, but you had a physical skill that would stun people, and you really wanted that stun, you would maybe sacrifice the magical damage skills and buy physical items that could help better support your god. But I feel like that would be pretty difficult to implement, and there's a reason that a lot of our gods fit certain roles and have certain, if they're magical or physical, such as all of our tanks are magical. And it just works better that way with how their builds are and how to counter them and everything like that.
Yeah.
So having a god that's physical and magical, it would be interesting to see how you'd have to build them. I think that would be the biggest concern, is that we would have to implement items just for that god.
Yeah, if that was the case, I think it wouldn't come for like a few years down the road. You know, just because right now, I mean, there's so much that Hi-Rez is learning still with balancing and adjustments and items and abilities. I mean, if you guys have been around for a lot of the beta, you've seen stats, you've seen abilities go through a ton of things. You know, you've seen
old Guan Yu.
Exactly, and there's a lot of things that Hi-Rez has learned along the way in regards to how to balance the game and stuff like that. And they're getting much better and better at it, except for Nemesis. But outside of that, you know,
I didn't find Nemesis.
You know, they're definitely getting better at that, and that's one of those things where I feel like that would be something down the road when to add in those unique challenges. Just like people would say, well, what if they develop a god that didn't use mana? The same type of concept there does apply, I feel like.
That would be interesting too, and we're slowly getting closer and closer to that. I know Thanatos was the first time that we had someone that skills did something different than it takes your mana away.
Yep.
His skills cause health. And it created a whole different way to be able to run jungler and what items you were supposed to build and what was important for the starting build and that kind of stuff. And I think it'd be really interesting if we start going down that line a bit more. And I know I've heard developers talking about playing with some ideas of ultimates or skills that could be something completely different that'd be really interesting, but I can't say anything about that in specific, so I'm sorry.
Well played, well played.
Although the next god's gonna be interesting.
Oh, I'm very excited for it. And it's funny because when I host these shows like week to week, those are the constant questions, and I want to be like, I don't work for Hi-Rez. You're asking the complete wrong person. Nor if I did work for Hi-Rez, would I be able to leak it? I'm like, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy. Come on now.
I just saw someone say, Kelly, how does one get a job like Octane or Dry Bear? And the real answer to that is just be good at what you do and be charismatic and be a great community member. Because Dry Bear and OctanePro are two of the best community members to exemplify that. That if you do well and you're good at what you do and you have a great personality, Hi-Rez Studios is going to help you along the way. And that we're going to start talking to you and we're going to start seeing how we can work well with you.
Yeah, they pay us millions and millions of gems every day, guys, so it's all good.
Yeah,
you know?
that too. I get paid in gems.
That's right.
I don't have a salary.
That's right.
I just take
That's
gems.
right. That's right. What, we can't use gems in the real world? What the heck is this? I don't understand. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, and then after we discuss the topic, we're going to bring on our next guest here, and the topic is what do we as fans and viewers hope to see at the Smite launch tournament? And you know, that's a good question because you know a lot of people have conflicting ideas as to what to expect at the tournament. I have no inside information about what's going to be at the event just yet. So, but that lady on screen does. All right. So, not that she's gonna leak it all, but I want to hear. I want to hear from the fans. You know what you guys expect to see. So, if you guys want to post in chat, just Twitch chat. You know what you guys expect to see. You know, there's a lot of things that have been thrown out there. Last on the roundtable discussion that I had a few weeks ago, Hi-Rez, Bart, and APC were one of the individuals from Hi-Rez on there, and one of the questions had come up about like, hey, what about soundproof booths? And that was a discussion, and a lot of tournaments are very up in the air about that because some people like it, some people don't like it. In a tournament atmosphere where it's a team setting based and you have a live crowd, it's great because then you don't have, you know, all of a sudden the crowd roars and the guys on one team go, oh wow, the crowd's getting excited, something must be happening.
You're getting hype. You get that. Yeah, you get that following behind you.
So,
that pushes you to do better.
Correct. And the soundproof booths are definitely something that have been really big in other scenes over the last several years. And, you know, that was something that Bart kind of said, hey, financially, we're just not going to do that this time around. You know, we're probably going to stick with the, you know, the giant ear cups that you do get and stuff like that. And then, you know, earbuds and go from there. So stuff like that. Other people may ask, you know, in chat what you guys are hoping to see, you know, are we going to have Smite available for play? Some people may wonder, you know, is there going to be a gaming area that you can play Smite? You know, so while you're at the event, you can go play Smite and hang out, stuff like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
The event's going to be pretty interesting. If you guys saw anything about Siege, which Siege is a relatively small gaming convention here, in that we partnered with them and held our show match there between Denial and Dignitas, and the production was fantastic. It was the first time that we had this big stage and lighting, and we had these huge banners, and we had an audience, and the audience was hype, and it really drove us to make the 100K just as good. I don't know, did you see the picture for where it's being held?
Yes, that's actually. I'm really excited for it. It looks really, really cool. It's kind of that like Coliseum setup. Yeah, I think it'll be great, without a doubt.
I'm excited. I'm so excited for that. So that's one thing that people can look forward to is that there is this huge Coliseum setting, and like you know, it's a big stadium, and like there's all these chairs. I mean, it's nowhere near as big as say the what was it? What did League of Legends sell out?
Oh, that huge like a setup. Yep, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
something absurd,
me
but
either.
It's a good start because you know what?
I
am so pleased as a community that like Hi-Rez had set up a location first and then sold through the 300 tickets like so quick, and then people were interested in more tickets and then more tickets, and then finally, you know, you guys were like, all right, well, I guess we're moving locations because there's the demand, which I do like the new location better. I think the new location is perfect.
Oh yeah. I mean, for the people that got hotels already, I'm sure it's a bit annoying, but trust me, you're gonna want it to be bigger and better, and you want more people there to feel that hype with you, rather than just being a small kind of contained environment. But another thing that's happening the same weekend of the launch tournament is GameFit Expo, which, if you guys haven't heard about it because we haven't done too much promotion about it, we actually just announced it about a week ago, is that GameFit Expo is essentially content creators, video game content creators on YouTube and other media sources are all coming over here, and they're going to be hosting, or not hosting, but they're going to be at this event. They're going to be our special guests. We have 4 of the creatures showing up.
Yeah.
Who else do we have?
Total Biscuit.
Basher, Lasercorn, Sohinki, and Total Biscuit, which I know is a huge, huge name. So all these people are going to be here. We're going to be promoting essentially content creation on YouTube and other videos or other media sources. And I feel like it's very important because you have, PAX and you have Gamescom, all these events where the content creators really don't get noticed too much. Besides the Twitch booth, and even then it's very contained. All it is about releasing the games, which is what you want it to be about. You want it to be all about the games. And you want it to celebrate the people that help make the game more than they are and help the community. So that's why we made GameFit Expo. And I want to remind everyone, because I actually wasn't aware of this, that if you have tickets to the launch tournament, that won't get you into GameFit Expo. They're two different events. So you're going to have to get a ticket for both if you want to see both. If you just want to see one, then please feel free to just get one ticket for whatever you want to see.
Now, is the expo run by Hi-Rez, or no? It's kind of like a joint up.
It's gonna be run by Hi-Rez.
Okay, and do you know? I don't know if you can release or not. Is a lot of the panels and stuff like that going to be streamed or is it just, or you don't know? Okay, I didn't know. I hadn't seen anything yet. I think it'll be awesome if it'll be streamed so people can enjoy the content that aren't there, like the panels and stuff like that and discussions. But some of those details hopefully will come out. I mean, for what it seems like, there's a whole lot going on during that weekend, and a lot that will be hopefully released in the next few weeks. Itineraries, schedules, everything like that for the community, without a doubt. All right, let's go on and bring on another guest here. All right, Sorastro, how's it going, man? Welcome to Smite Talk.
It's going great. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. So what do you want to talk about tonight, sir?
Well, Kelly, you see a lot of content come in and go out. What is there one thing in particular that you would like to see from the community?
One thing that I would like to see in the game. Well, we get a lot of content videos of people playing a specific god, or they're playing an arena, or they're playing an assault, and they make a series of videos based off of that. And then we have people like OctanePro who make talk shows and that kind of stuff, which is definitely needed for community to grow because it brings in some professionalism, not from Hi-Rez, but from the community, and that shows growth, that shows that we want it to be as big as the other professional esports. But things that I personally want to see is more things like machinimas, and this is just my personal preference, and that I know that they made one came out recently, and I can't remember the name of it, and I apologize because they even asked me to be a voice actor on it. But
was that like the Pantheon one?
Yes, okay. Pantheon. Yep. Thank you. And I remember Squid and Smitten worked on one called do you remember what it's called?
I do not. I don't remember.
They worked on a machinima as well. What is it?
Somebody's gonna remind us in chat. Somebody's gonna tell us.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
But they worked on one as well, and it was received pretty well, and people thought it was funny, and I guess they just ran into too much time consuming because they had to stop doing it.
Okay.
But I personally would love to see machinimas. I just think they're funny. I used to watch Red vs. Blue growing up, and was in love with it. I love Red vs. Blue, and I'm surprised that they're still making it. It's amazing. But I think machinimas are really interesting. I think what I would really like to see is someone, and I actually just brought him up before, is someone like Day9, that people will send in their match IDs, and he will review them. And he will review, or he or she, it could be a girl, will review these games and give insight on them, how to get better, or they can make it comedic, like how he does the Fun Day Mondays. I think that would be really interesting, and we don't really have someone like that. All of our streamers just kind of come on and they play games besides you watching porn and Demon Machine, where they'll have more of a talk show atmosphere. Yeah. I think it'd be really interesting to have someone that actually reviews the plays and not just it wouldn't just even be competitive games or games between two top teams. It could be someone that's mediocre or average and have someone send that in. And you could even have something with the Fun Day Mondays where every time you die, you have to rotate a lane. Or anytime you guys get a kill on someone, you have to buy a certain item.
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting to see.
Okay. Interesting. What other questions you got for us?
The only other question I'd like to ask is this. If, and this one's directed at both of you, if copyright was not a consideration, what one skin would you like to see?
Ooh,
I'm going to jump on that first so she doesn't steal mine, even though she probably won't. I'm going to have two. First one is going to be Iron Man Ra, and the second one is Hulk Ymir.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I definitely would love to see a Super Saiyan song.
I should have said that. I should have said that.
I know,
I should have said it. Just so I could steal it.
Like the full garb, like, you know, the gi and everything, the orange on top, blue underneath, and like the bell and everything. I think seeing a Super Saiyan Sun Wukong would be awesome.
That's how I cast my 3 vs 3 when Sun Wukong goes up in his cloud. I'm like, oh, Goku's on his cloud right now.
Yep, he's on the Nimbus. He's on the flying Nimbus. Oh, it's awesome. But, well, yeah, I mean, you know, Son Goku's actually based off of Sun Wukong from Journey to the West. So the whole story is actually based off of, sorry, Dragon Ball Z nerd, if you can't tell from my flag right here. But, Sun Wukong, Super Saiyan Sun Wukong would be awesome. And I had another one that I can't even remember right now. But, yeah, if we release all the skins, you saw where we were doing the voting for all the skins that Poseidon came from, and who was the other one that came out? Red Star Athena. I really like the steampunk Vulcan. I'm a huge fan of steampunk. Like, I go to Dragon Con, or I've been to Dragon Con for a few years, and just seeing the steampunk people there is really cool. And I just think he looks so dapper. I don't even like Vulcan, but I would totally play steampunk Vulcan.
Did you see in chat somebody said Flash Mercury? I like that one. That one makes perfect sense.
That one's solid.
Yeah. What about you as the caller calling in? What is your thought? Who would you like to see?
I also have two that I'd like to see, and I just saw one of them go by in chat, and that's that's Ghostbuster Jean-Qui.
Oh yeah, and have the backpack instead of the bag. That'd be so cool. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's also one like
the trap out there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like it.
That would be cool. I'd also if and when, or maybe, I don't know, but like the gangster Apollo that they drew, I think it'd be really cool. Instead of a chariot, it's like, you know, a 1950s car. Like,
oh, nice.
I think
gangster.
I don't know if that's gonna. I doubt that's a thing, but I think that'd be really cool to have that on his board as well.
So what was your other one?
My
What was the other one?
Is Kool-Aid Man Vamana.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How would you design that though? Because this is the thing that you have to remember about skins, is that skins, we never really change how they look. We just add stuff onto their actual model. So Kool-Aid Vamana would be a little weird because he'd just be like a red baby with like a smiley face.
Yeah, but he could be in a glass. He could be in a glass pitcher though, so he'd run around filled up, you know, all filled with liquid, and then he expands and gets gigantic. It would work out. Come on now.
Oh yeah.
Would it? That'd be pretty interesting.
It would be horrible compared to the other skin recommendations, but I definitely like where your head's at though. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man, for coming on. I do appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and we'll take we'll see here. Would you like us to take one more caller, or do you want to go ahead and bring up your topic?
Ooh. We can take another caller.
Okay. That's because Kelly hasn't thought of her topic yet, so it's okay.
I have, but I don't know how to word it yet, and I don't want to make people upset. But I like it. When I'm on these things, I know that there's a lot of people that, you know, want to talk about safe topics and that kind of stuff, but I don't really want to do that. I want to talk about stuff that the community is thinking about currently. So let's take another caller.
All right. Welcome to the show. How's it going? Welcome to Smite Talk. Are you with us?
Hi. Yeah, I am.
Awesome. So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I kind of have two issues that I want to speak about. The first one is, I think, community related. Actually, in game. Is that right?
Okay. Yep. That's fine. You can talk about anything you want.
Okay. I've never done anything like this before, so
that's okay.
nervous.
By the way, I love your accent. By the way, great accent.
Oh, thank you.
I did too. I just didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to sound like a creeper. I was just
Well,
enjoying it in my head.
I'll be the guy and sound like a creeper. It's okay. Whatever.
There you go.
Yeah, well, I get that a lot because I have a Scottish accent. I am actually Scottish, but it's been heavily diluted by living in Norway forever.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what I wanted to talk about or say is, well, especially the last couple of months, there's been a lot of like really nasty people in game.
Okay.
And yeah, and I would kind of want to like give sort of a, what do you Americans say? Shout out.
A shout out.
Yeah, to well, the community in general, that, you know, yelling abuse at people, it does not help.
Not at all.
Yeah,
it's insane how if someone's doing poorly, that the other people like yelling at them, they think that that's going to change it, instead of being like, hey, you should probably be in this lane and get these items. Because there's a way to help someone out besides being rude.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, I find myself being the mother a lot. Like, oh, there's no need for this. Guys, calm down. And I haven't played League games yet because I don't think I'm that good.
Oh, that's okay. Sure.
Yeah, I'm working up to it, but you know.
Yeah,
I'm
you
still
should be. Trust me, the people on League games aren't as good as, or just as good as the one in casuals.
Yes, I think what I could say is definitely like towards that comment is, and the way I perceive it, and everybody does it differently, but if I'm in a game and I see a troll, you know, there's definitely a lot of those people out there, bad manners starting to form. I actually just turn around on the person. I either one, go ahead and, you know, let them, you know, what happens if you make a comment back towards them, why are you ganging up on this person? Especially if the person's like, hey, I'm new, like, you know, give me a break. You will notice that a lot of the other people in your game will do the same and be like, be quiet or shut up or stuff like that to that person that's trying to start the BM. On the opposite side, and what happens is then that person just stops. Like, they stop what they're doing because it's like, wow, the majority of my team disagrees with me. The other option there too is, you know, if you see someone giving so much, even towards you, if you know, if all of a sudden you get a ton of BM or troll towards you, if you turn it around and you're just like, well, thanks, I appreciate it, or oh, love you too, or stuff like that, like if you don't allow it to affect you, you just keep on moving on with it, it passes. The downside is it's so easy because there's nothing that connects you online with like you as a person. You know, you get to hide behind that character.
Just like what I said, the dehumanization.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's like there's nothing that associates.
Yeah, you're not talking with other people. You're talking with the game. That's how people view it. They don't think that they're. If you were at a LAN center and playing with 4 random people, you would never say this.
Exactly.
No one ever would, because you would actually have to face the repercussions of it.
Yep. And so it's a very hard battle. You're always going to have it without a doubt. It especially comes down to the demographic of players that you have. But at the same time, you know, I also sometimes feel like it comes with the free-to-play model too. Your demographic is opened up across the board, where with free-to-play you do have not only you know, older individuals that are playing the game, and what older I mean like you're 20 plus or 30 plus or whatever, but you also introduce it into a younger demographic of younger children, and there are a lot of children that play Smite, and the reason is it's free to play. They don't have to go to their parents and say, hey, I need money to go buy a $60 StarCraft 2 game or something like that. They could just go ahead, download it, and play it. So your demographic is so across the board, and maturity is a big factor. And as much as you try to weed that out, you're always going to have people that are, and I'm not saying all children and all under 18 individuals are immature and play the game to bad manner and troll, but you're going to have much more people being able to do that because of the demographics.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, that leads me sort of into my second part of this question, because I kind of want to know how seriously reports are being taken. Because I had this game, it has to be like 4 months ago or something, and I met 3 people, and this one guy, he threatened to beat me up.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and I have a very thick skin, so I don't really think too much about this kind of stuff.
Okay.
But, you know, so I retaliated by saying, oh, so you'd hit a girl. Nice, you know?
Yeah.
And then this insane thing ensued where three of these people just started yelling out really like abusive and sexist stuff. Like I've never seen the like ever. And I'm 28 years old. I've been a gamer for most of my life, and I've never seen anything like it. It was insane.
MOBAs have definitely bringed out the worst in a lot of people, and like I said earlier in the show, it's the competitive nature of it, and anytime it's something competitive where you have to rely on other people, they'll never blame themselves and they'll always blame someone else, and they want, it's an escape for them, and it's a way to get out their anger and all that kind of stuff. So it's all these things, and you have the anonymity about being on the internet so that you're not going to get in trouble, and if you do get in trouble, you can just make a new account. And our reports, how we handle them is that you report a player, and within any given, like a week, for the past week, if a player has so many reports, we'll look into them, and we'll look into them right away. And we also have a flag that notifies if they ever use any kind of offensive language, anything that's homophobic, anything that's racist, anything that's sexist. And what we used to do is that we used to just ban them right out. If they have any kind of racism or sexism in their chat log, we ban them, permaban. But now what we do is that we give them a warning, and we give them a warning saying what they're potentially going to be banned for. And if they ever do anything again similar to that, then we ban them outright. But how we handle all of our other reports is that, say someone has 30 leaves in the past week, and we'll ban them. And the first ban we do is a 3-day ban. And then it goes to a 7-day ban. And then to like a 10-day ban, like a 1-month ban, and a year ban. So each time that someone gets banned, so say they've never been banned before and they get banned, they have a 3-day ban and they come back. If we see that they continue to harass, continue to use abusive language, we have a notification that they've already been banned, and so then we'll ban them for a week. Because we know that people like to use video games as an outlet, and people get really emotional, people get really into it, and they start saying things that they would never say to anyone in real life. And so we don't want to ban people outright right away for harassment, but for anything like that, we would ban them. But unfortunately, if you just send out a report, that's all we see.
Yeah, okay. So but you have no idea how actually comforting
I'm
that
sure.
is to hear, because you meet so many people that are just, you don't even know how they are even able to talk like that to people.
The people that are like that don't have social skills. And
and to new
that's
people
why they
as
talk
well.
like that. That's why they talk like that on the internet.
Yeah, I've been playing Smite for I think a year since it was in closed beta, and I really enjoy the game. It's my first MOBA ever.
Good for you. Good for you.
MOBAs.
Thanks. Yeah, it was. I wasn't expecting it to be this much fun, and so this leads me into the second thing I was gonna talk to you about. I have just started streaming like literally a week ago.
Oh, good for you.
Well, welcome to streaming.
Thanks. I would like to get. This is why I did this, because you're on, Kelly, and you're a Smite streamer, and it's like, oh yay, another girl. Who?
Yes.
So I would really like to ask you like a couple of questions. Like, for example, if you want to add any music to your stream, do you have to go through any different channels? Is there a special program you have to use, or is it?
I use Pandora, and if you want to streaming on Pandora is fine. Some stipulations are that you have to show that you're using Pandora, so a lot of people have.
If you want to add any music
that shows what it's playing, and people know that's Pandora. But if you plan on making YouTube videos out of your streaming, you might not want to use Pandora because there's a lot of copyrighted music, and your videos just won't be uploaded. They'll get kicked off.
I'm using Twitch at the moment, and I'm planning on going further into YouTube when I'm a little bit more used to the whole thing.
So be careful with that, using that kind of music. I just play Pandora. When I stream, I have like dozens of radios, and it'll shuffle it, and I'll have different music playing in the background. I used to use YouTube, and I would only add songs that I liked, but I eventually just started using Pandora because that's what Bart used, and that's what we had in the stream room.
Yeah, there's no restrictions.
Yeah,
there's no restrictions for what music you play on Twitch.
Okay, so like if I play something on my iTunes and that's heard in the stream, that's okay.
Correct.
Oh yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay, great. Well, that's really great to know, because
Yeah.
I was sitting there in my stream, and I was going like be right back, and I put Within Temptation on, and I was like, and I came back, and I'm like, am I gonna get sued or something?
No, you're fine. Twitch is totally fine with that. YouTube's a different story, and they'll never sue you. They'll just take your video off of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
okay.
you're good there. Do you have any other stream-related questions for Kelly?
Just the clue is kind of to make yourself a little unique, right?
Yes, exactly.
And how do you handle, because without sounding like an idiot, I am a very unique person. I have pink hair and a lot of tattoos.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely falls
So
under
I
the
think-
unique category. There you go.
Indeed, yeah. But I was wondering, how do you handle if you get like really, because like I said earlier, I have a very thick skin, but this streaming thing I'm completely new to.
Okay.
So how do you handle really negative comments or messages or that kind of thing?
I've had all the worst things happen to me on Twitch. I've been harassed. I've had people call. I've had my phone number released on the internet and had people call me. I've had my parents' address posted on the internet. I've had pictures from my old Facebook and my old photo bucket posted everywhere. So I understand what it's like, and you do have to have a thick skin. And there's a few ways that you can go about trolls. What I used to do is that I would just troll the trolls and just make fun of them. Yeah. Because, congratulations, you have nothing better to do in your life than troll me, who I'm doing something that I love. Like, sucks, bro. Or
yeah,
you can ignore
that's
them.
kind of my default.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people want to do. You want to get back at them because you want to show them that you're better than them. But eventually, what it comes down to is that people will just keep adding on to it because you're responding to them and you're feeding them. You're giving them a response, and that's what they want. They don't really care what happens to you or what you're affected by. They want to see it affect you. They want to see it be negative, but ultimately they want a response because that means that they won. So ignoring them is a great way to handle it, but it's not as satisfying, right? You want to get them to shut up. You want to just be like, yeah, well, you're dumb. But although it's more satisfying, you also get more negative people. And really what it comes down to is just be confident in who you are. There's so much speculation with just being a female streamer, in that, you're a cam girl. Oh, you just want attention. Oh, you don't actually like the game. You're doing this to try and get into the scene, all that kind of stuff. And if you are just true to who you are and you don't try to pretend to be anyone else, because on my stream, I wear t-shirts all the time, and I wear jeans and that kind of stuff, and I don't really try to talk. I'm really loud and obnoxious, and I make really weird sounds, and I make weird faces, and that's just because I'm comfortable that way. But then there's plenty of other female streamers, such as Mia Rose, who's an ex-porn star, and she's an amazing streamer, and she's really engaging, and she's really sweet, and she doesn't try to ignore that never happened. She embraces it, and if you embrace who you are and what you do, then other people will embrace you as well. There's gonna be haters, and there's gonna be people that try to bring you down, and I've had the nastiest emails sent to me, and I'm just like, all right. Because what it comes down to is that not everyone has to like you, and not everyone will, and that's fine. If everyone liked everyone, then the world would be a completely different place. So you're gonna have people that dislike you, and never let that bring you down.
Yeah, the big thing there, as Kelly had said, is, and keep in mind, as you get more and more involved in a scene, you're going to have more and more people that want to voice their opinion about how they don't like you, or how they don't like your content, or don't think you're horrible at the game. And it just comes with it. Think of it, and I'm not comparing, to a little bit I'm comparing, but look at celebrities. Celebrities have the people that are huge fanboys, or people that are the other side of the spectrum and hate them and stuff like that. So, you can't let it get to you. You just kind of blow it off, because it's always going to be there, without a doubt. As we talked about, people are always going to voice their opinion there. I appreciate you coming on, without a doubt, and I'll definitely give. There's been plenty of ask in the channel. Hey, you're a new streamer. What's your Twitch channel?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and read off your Twitch channel so that all these individuals in chat can check you out.
Oh, okay. Let's see. You want me to give you the whole address?
Twitch.tv/what? What's your name?
EAMAC86. EAMAC86.
EAMACE?
EAMAC.
And then what's the numbers?
86.
86. All right, I'll put it in chat for you. And,
oh, thank you.
and anybody that's interested, definitely go check her out. We want to encourage new streamers, especially in the Smite community, without a doubt. And you have a great personality, so I think you'll be a very good contribution to the scene. So, yeah, definitely. Well, best of luck, and thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Oh. Thank you so much for those words. That gave me some confidence.
Good.
And thank you for doing what you do, really.
Yeah. The start's always hard, but stick with it, and it'll pay off.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Doesn't it feel good to make someone's night like that? It's like, that's so good.
and I genuinely love having other female streamers out there. And I know I've said this before on my stream that I really don't care about female gamers.
Yep.
That what's more important is that if you have a great personality and you are affecting the community positively,
Sure.
I love you. I don't care if you're a girl or not. But people like having someone, and she seems so happy and positive and,
I know, right?
and interested.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to see her, and I want to see more female gamers out there just showing who they really are and just streaming like every other guy. They're not streaming because they're girl, because they want attention, but streaming just because that's what they love to do.
Sure.
And I'm really excited to have more people on board. I actually creep on so many female streamers. I really do. All the female like Smite streamers, I know who they are. Like I watch them because it's really exciting for me to see the community growing and more females being comfortable to stream in our community, like in our game.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and something I had mentioned to Kelly too is something I want to put in the works for the next month or so between now and the launch of Smite is put together an episode of the Smite Roundtable discussion labeled probably Ladies of Smite, and just kind of have on some of the female figures in the community just to kind of talk about the day-to-day things that they run into or how they deal with certain things, and because it is different for a female in a male-dominant atmosphere like gaming.
It is.
Without a doubt. And it's not that and I want people to know that when we do put together the show, it's not because we want to put them on a podium or make it seem like they're different and stuff like that. It's to point out that, when you are a minority within an atmosphere like gaming, especially within Smite, things are differently. And so we want to reach out to other females in the community and say, hey, listen, you're not the only one that deals with those things, and this is what it's about. So that'll be in the next month or so. So keep an eye out. It will be posted on Reddit without a doubt. So
I'm excited for that.
So let's go ahead and move on. Last topic here is Kelly's topic. Kelly just kind of gets to pick a topic. We talk about it and we go from there. So what is your topic?
All right, so I wanted to actually talk with the chat, as I call Chad, and I love chat, and I guess I made a post about this on Reddit a few days ago.
Okay.
A lot of people send me emails and everything, and you sent me that email about the calendar, and I actually have it written down of something that I'm going to talk to Todd about next week, Todd Annabelle, and see if there's something that we could have it actually posted on our website, and so people can go there and post community events and tournaments that they want to host.
Sure.
I want to know what you guys want from us, from the community.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean what you guys want for the gods to be released or domination to come back or matchmaking to get better. What do you want to see Hi-Rez do with the community? A few months ago, before Tier Monster had their divine intervention, me and Gavin were talking about having streamers versus Hi-Rez employees.
Sure.
And having it be a 5v5 and having it being shoutcasted by people and having, it be a big thing and do a fundraising event. But then Tier Monster had their divine intervention and we definitely didn't want to step on any toes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's better to space those events out.
Yep.
And Tier Monster divine intervention was fantastic and people really seemed to enjoy it. But like having stuff like that, or maybe contests, or maybe something different where we host something once a week. We're doing Pug Mumbles. Me and APC, although I missed last Wednesday and I feel terrible for it. Every Wednesday night we have these Pug games where we play pickup games with people in our Mumble. We have a community Mumble. I believe if you type !Mumble, then you can find all the information there where the community can use it. Or maybe more stuff like that where instead of Mumble we host a different media source or something like that where people can use it as a community. I really want to know what the community wants because they always talk about the game and the development of it and the balancing, but they never really, or they do, but it's not as often do they talk about what they want to see about events and community interaction.
Sure. No, I think it's a really good idea. And those not familiar about the recommendation I made to Kelly that she was talking about, as I said before, I came over from the StarCraft 2 scene, and if you go over to Team Liquid, .net, you can find that Team Liquid has a calendar on their website, like right there and available. And Team Liquid's kind of like the hub for StarCraft. And right on that website, you can find that they allow the community members to go ahead and post events that are going on, or even that they're streaming. So like we have this event coming up, we have a charity event coming up, this tournament event. Hey, I'm streaming, whatever. And you could post it to a calendar. And what happens is the calendar is available for everyone to see. All the details are there and everything. And when you submit it to the calendar, there is somebody, and not just automatically added. Someone reviews them and determines, okay, it can be added to the calendar. And the interesting thing is the way that they, like, let's say a streamer is going to go ahead and post on there. Well, that streamer has a forum account too. And if your forum account doesn't have enough activity, you can't just go ahead and post it up there. So it encourages the community to be involved on the forums, like a member first beforehand. With tournaments, it's a little bit different, stuff like that. But so what happens is, constantly people are like, well, what's going on in the community? What's going on tonight? I want to watch something on Smite. You could go to the calendar and just see like a whole schedule completely filled out with a ton of information. And I feel like there's a lot going on in the Smite community every single day, but there isn't an outlet to view it. And Reddit, as we talked about, is not the best place to post because sometimes you do get downvoted to eternity and nobody sees it. And with Twitch, even if you're going to stream something, it's not the best place to try to make it well known because if you're not, if you're a newer streamer or the event doesn't get as much publicity as you wanted, it doesn't come up in the top 10 for, Smite or whatever, so people don't see it. So then all of a sudden, people get discouraged. And this is a great way to go about doing it, without a doubt.
It's such a shame that the Reddit doesn't support new and up-and-coming streamers.
Yeah.
Because anytime I see anyone post their stream, I always upvote it.
Yeah.
But it always has like 15 downvotes, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's never gonna go up there.
Well, that's one of the things, and I'm happy to see us looking at moving from Reddit to forums. Is like, for example, when I launched Smite Shop and was working with Hi-Rez on that and working with Child's Play on that, I posted it on Reddit and it was deleted. And I went to the moderator. I was like, hey, I'm trying to do a charity event here, working with Hi-Rez. I'm just trying to get the merchandise out there and the charity and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, well, we don't allow selling items. And it's like, oh, well, how, I'm going to publicize it the best way I can. But Reddit's right now one of the only sources for people to kind of read news on Smite outside of Smite Games, website. And they're like, oh, we're sorry. If we allow you to do it, then everyone can do it. And I'm like, even if it's for a charity? They're like, yep, even if it's for a charity. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, something like, as we talked about, like a calendar or something like that would definitely help out with getting viewership for stuff like that. So
that'd be great. Someone just posted saying that they wish that there was more ways to purchase gems, but we actually have a few. If you actually go to smitegame.com and where it says store, you can purchase gems, and there's multiple options that you can do. Let me just and just there we go. So if you go to the gyms in the store and you purchase a gym and you can buy it for yourself or you can buy it for a friend, and there's the credit card options, there's PayPal, and then there's 5 more choices. And 5 more choices include Ultimate Game Card, Western Union, Money Bookers, PaySafe Card, and Travelers Express MoneyGram. Yeah. And all of these are ways that you can pay online. And I know that you said you want to use something outside of a card, but it's an online game. Cards are pretty much the only thing that's going to work. Or PayPal. And PayPal is a great alternative. It's a safe way to purchase stuff. So if you want to buy gems, I would suggest using PayPal. Also, we have Amazon.com that sells gems. If you if you look up Smite gems on Amazon.com, and they have multiple ways that you can purchase stuff there. So that might be another alternative for you. So,
yeah, I think some people are also looking towards other games where they see like you can go to GameStop and buy a gem card.
Yes.
Or something like that. And that might be something down the road.
Smite's not that big yet.
Exactly. I completely agree.
I don't think we could afford to ship out all those cards to all the different GameStops and hope it'd be profitable.
Yes, without a doubt. Someone else had also said, I'd like to see Hi-Rez support smaller streamers. Is there a way to do a spotlight and stuff like that? As we kind of talked about, well, I'll come in first and let you take it without a doubt. As we talked about earlier, like the way that Twitch is designed, it's not ever going to show you like the smallest streamers. Like that's something that always irked me was when I go ahead and click on Smite, why doesn't it show me the smallest streamers first and the largest streamers last? but at the same time, I understand where it's coming from. But where this person is saying, I think it's a great idea. There definitely it would be great if there was a spotlight feature, and that could be something that could be added within Smite to the homepage, where like it would just randomly pick someone, and once a day, like Kelly would just jump on, find a streamer, plug in that info into a client somewhere, and so when people jumped on, it would just say random streamer of the day, John Smith, click here to watch them. And you just click there, and it would go ahead and select it. So I think it would be a really cool idea. Even if they weren't online, it would at least highlight that person for the future.
The thing about that is that if you make it random, people feel like they deserve it more than others or something like that. And we also, so there's always going to be stipulations, but I know that on Thursdays, Gavin and I believe HiRezKelly goes to the smaller streamers and does gym giveaways to help promote their stream and that kind of stuff. Although it's a bit more difficult to get people to come there when they show up, randomly. But we do really appreciate all the streamers out there. And what people don't realize is that Smite just, it's not that big, and it's growing. But the Smite Game channel and Smite Pro channel are big because they've been around for so long, and they're 24-hour, 7 days a week channels. So they're going to get growth, they're going to get followers, they're going to get, and they have, the highest content there and the most volume content there.
You're good. Keep going.
Someone hungry? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's my wife and son walking up the steps right now, and of course my son is not happy because my son loves sitting at my computer, like watching things on my screen or watching video games. So his handle we give him is Mini Pro.
Oh, nice. I like it. Oh, OctanePro Mini Pro. I like that. No, but yeah, it would be a great way to be able to promote more streamers, and especially smaller streamers out there. But Smite's just not that big, and the people that have been around for years are the ones that get viewers. Yeah. And I mean, Lassus will stream on his own personal channel and get 800 to 1,000. Same thing with Dean Brandon. Same thing with Driver. Same thing with Squiddish. The people that have been doing it for a really long time, they're the ones that get viewers even outside of Smite game, and that's just how every Twitch channel works. Like if you go to the Binding of Isaac, which has been around for a very long time, there's only 3 or 4 people there that get over 100 viewers, and the rest of them are very small. That's just how Twitch works, and that's just how social media works. Is that the people that have been around along and have gotten exposure are going to be bigger, and the people that are smaller, since there's already been an established set of streamers that people go to, are not going to grow as easily. Yeah, you have to prove that you're entertaining and different and have a good stream to be able to get up there, but it's going to be a really painful climb.
Yeah, the one thing that I could say, like every guest I have on, they definitely talk about streaming. Streaming is so big in the community, and recommendations they have, and as some people have said, definitely the content creators as well have said, don't rely on Twitch to be your only outlet for viewership. A lot of them, for example, like Drybear or Trendkill or Mesmerize or Squiddish will say, hey, we don't completely rely on Twitch. Definitely look at other outlets like YouTube that advertise your Twitch as well. Have videos on YouTube and give people links to check out your live stream, and that definitely helps out. I mean, from a standpoint for Hi-Rez, it's not necessarily their responsibility to give smaller streamers more attention. I mean, their primary responsibility is the game and the community, yes. And now, granted, part of the community is streaming. I'm not disagreeing with you. Some of these cool features to give attention to smaller streamers, yeah, that's great. It's a cool perk and everything like that. But why necessarily is it Hi-Rez's responsibility? I mean, it would be nice for them to help that out. I completely understand where you guys are coming from. But that's not, you don't want them to focus on that as a focus compared to being like games or gods or items or something like that.
And it kind of goes back to what I was saying before, is that a lot of people seem pretty demanding because we're a very open and transparent company, and if we give them a little, they'll want a lot. And so it's because when I streamed Diablo, and that's how I got my start, and I got 20-something thousand followers on Twitch because of that. I never had Blizzard contact me and help me and do stuff for me. It's hard, it's difficult, but that's a great idea to have a spotlight for smaller streamers, and maybe I can talk to our website admin and see if there's something that we can do about that.
Sure, without a doubt. Let's go ahead and bring on another viewer here. Kazuma, let's see. Hello, welcome to Smite Talk. Are you there? Hello.
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 Hey, how's it going?
I'm fine.
Good. So
sorry about that.
That's okay. So what do you want to talk about today?
First one is thank Kelly because she allows me. Well, I asked her if I could upload Smite past 200k to YouTube, So it's going well. Week 4 up right now. Week 5 should be up tomorrow. Just depends on upload speed.
Oh yeah, YouTube's been a pain in the butt, hasn't it, recently?
I've been like copyrighted strikes everywhere.
Oh
music,
man,
that's it.
Really?
I'm like, I can't be bothered with it. Just whatever countries allow it.
Sure.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say about the BM first.
Okay.
I play with friends, so I don't really get BM, and if there's any BM in the chat, we'll just destroy them before anything happens.
Yeah.
Because like we don't play like just separately. It just doesn't happen because
Sure.
there's always at least 2 or 3 of us on. Then from there, I was reading in chat earlier, and people were asking if the God Pack is going to be available after launch.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't made an official statement about that. We have stated that the God Pack, there we go. Once you purchase the God Pack, that you will get all the games or all the gods after the release.
Mm-hmm.
So that the gods that you get all the gods from before and you get all the gods in the future, it's never going to stop. Like any god that comes out in the future, you will get in the God Pack if you purchase the God Pack. I have not heard anything official from my bosses to say whether the God Pack is going to increase in price, decrease in price, what it's going to offer, or if it's going to even be available.
Okay.
So I'm sure once we figure that out, there will be a public announcement about that, and that's usually how we work.
Good deal. Any other questions that you have?
Well, I was playing Smite the other day, and basically I got into a match, and it was like a bot match.
Okay.
And Neja ulted me, but before I basically...
Wait, was that you that made the Reddit post about how Naja ulted you?
Friend.
Yeah, and then you stayed up in the air, and you exited the game, and when you went into your next game, it looked like you were still up in the air.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that Reddit post.
Did you post that on Smite Bug?
I don't know if he did.
His friend posted it. His friend posted it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely something very important that we need to look into.
Yeah, that was like he got DC'd when he was up in the air, and then he went into his next game because he got reconnected, and it literally had the whole atmosphere, like the whole red hue look to the thing, and it was like, but yet he saw all the characters and everything. It was rather interesting, but it was something that could be fixed, hopefully.
Yes. There's a thing like that. Like I know if you were playing Fenrir and you jumped over the girl Fury in a specific way, you would just kind of start flying up and up until you were very high up. So
that happened with me with On Her.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was jumping.
There's a few bugs like that.
Yep. Cool. Well, you got anything else to talk about?
I was going to ask, do you think there are going to be any new actives that are going to be added? Like, Shard from previously. Is that going to be returning?
Anything like that, I actually don't know. And I'm sorry, I'm not a developer. I don't have any
That's fine.
powers. Like, I know what goes in the game. And they usually don't share it with me. The only time I know things ahead is when I'm in the playtests and get to see the new gods that are coming out and everything, or new items. So I'm sorry, I don't know.
Well, awesome.
Well, thanks anyway. There's people in chat waiting as well.
No problem. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for coming on, and you have a good night.
You too. All right.
Awesome. Well, I think, folks, we're going to go ahead and round out the show. It's definitely gone a lot longer than I originally expected, and I blame Kelly for that. When in doubt, blame Kelly. She just talks so much, guys. I mean,
I do.
I
love talking with everyone.
So I'm gonna develop one of those red lights and like a hook, so when I have a guest on, I can just like flick the red light.
Yeah. You should just send me messages on Skype being like, Kelly, you're talking too much.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right, without a doubt. So hopefully you guys had a good time tonight. I know Kelly and I did talking with you guys and discussing a lot of this community content. Smite Talk is on every week on Sundays at 7:00 p.m. So if you guys want to come next week, we're going to have the Duke, who is formerly the community manager for Hi-Rez Studios, will be on. As a community member, not necessarily a Hi-Rez employee, to kind of talk about, what he's got going on and some of his content and stuff like that. Before we go ahead and go, Kelly, where can people find some of your social media and keep up to date with you?
Well, Twitter is definitely where I mostly post everything, and I try to retweet anything that any of our developers post that is important for Smite. So you can find that at HiRezKelly, HiRezKelly. I also stream on Smite Game, which is right here, so just follow here. I stream from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. And I've been trying to stream more on my own personal channel, which is twitch.tv/HelloKellyLink. Link as an Link. Yes, that is my last name. And that's pretty much all I use. I have like a Facebook page, but I never use it.
Okay.
You could check out Smite on Facebook and Smite on Twitter and follow those for all the updates that you guys need for Smite related things. And I think that's about it. That's pretty much all I use. Oh, and youtube.com/SmiteGame. There I make Smite Recall, and there's a few other videos that we upload, weekly videos such as the Art Hour, Minion has spawned, all that good stuff.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, once again, shout-outs to Hi-Rez Studios for allowing to have Smite Talk on Smite Game. It's always a pleasure and a lot of fun. Also, as I said before, you guys could check out the show next week at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, right here, where we will have Duke on as well. And outside of that, this audio podcast is available on iTunes, so if you guys need something to listen to on the road or when you're going to the gym or something and you want to keep up with Smite, definitely, go ahead and download it. You can go to iTunes, look up Smite Talk. If you have an Android platform phone or a Windows phone, go into your podcast app. I use Beyond Pod because I do have an Android phone. Once again, that's Beyond Pod. And I download apps on there, but just look for Smite Talk, and you can check it out there. Well, anyways, folks, thank you guys very much for having myself and Kelly tonight, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye.